Alright guys, so today we're going to take a break from true wireless earbuds to talk about Audio-Technica's new wired open back gaming headset. And the pair that we're going to check out is the Audio-Technica ATH-GDL3s. Now the reason I wanted to talk about these is because Audio-Technica is one of those companies that I've always liked a lot of the products they've released throughout the years. In fact, the M50s was one of the first pair of headphones that actually got me into headphones. So mixing that with open back, which I am also a huge fan of, and also being a gaming headset, this pair definitely intrigued me. Price-wise, it does come in at $129. Like I said, it is an open back pair of headphones, so this is not one of those pairs that you could just use wherever you want to. You have to kind of think about that, because open back headphones basically means anything that you're listening to, anybody that's around you is going to be able to hear it just as clear as you are. This pair leaks pretty much 100% of the audio, so definitely keep that in mind, especially if you're thinking about using this on your Nintendo Switch, which you can, because this pair uses a normal 3.5mm headphone cable. It does come with a split cable if you're going to use this with your PC, so your audio and your mic is being able to be plugged in separately, but it does advertise this pair as being able to be used on your PC, your PS4, PS5, your Xbox. Basically, again, anything that has that 3.5mm headphone jack. Now the GDL3s come in weighing at only 220 grams, so this is easily one of the lightest pair of headphones, and I would almost say this is probably the lightest gaming headset that I've ever tested. I mean, it's pretty much an all plastic build. It does have that aluminum or stainless steel headband so that you can just slide the headphones up and down on that to kind of adjust them. And it also has a little silicone strap where it's going to touch your head, and that's just to keep the plastic off the top of your head. Because again, with this being a very light pair, you're not going to have the weight of the ear cups pulling down on your head. And the ear cups themselves, it's a fabric type material. It says that they're easily removable, but I do understand using these fabric ones because they are a little bit more breathable. So this is one of those pairs that you can use for a while and it doesn't get as hot. Now this pair does have the exposed cables on the inside. Now I am not a huge fan of this. I do understand it kind of keeps things real simple in the headband, but having exposed cables basically means that at any time something can catch these or cut these, and if that happens, your headset is pretty much useless. So you are going to want to be a little bit careful with these. They don't come with a case, so there's nothing to really protect them, but they are made to just kind of sit on your desktop or around your console. So it's not really made to be as portable anyway, because it, again, is an open back pair of headphones, and I don't recommend those for portable use. Now, as far as anything else on the headset, on the left side is where your controls are located, and basically the only controls that you're getting is a volume dial and then a mic mute button. It's really simplified. Again, this is an analog style headset, so there's nothing digital going inside. There's nothing to amplify the sound. You're just hearing the sound the way that it's coming out of the source. Now, as far as the drivers that these are using, they do have 45mm drivers. And I found that this pair is very easy to drive. So most open back pair of headphones, I normally recommend getting an amp, like a DAC amp or anything like that, to get the most out of them. And I still recommend that with this pair, but you don't need it. This is easily one that you can get plenty of volume out of. Do make sure that you have the volume dial turned up, because that was my first mistake. I thought it wasn't getting a lot of volume, and I noticed that the volume wheel was at 50%. So turn it up as much as you want. This pair is definitely going to get loud enough no matter what you're plugging it into. Now, as far as what all you get inside the box, you do get those 2 sets of cables. And then the only other thing that's included is the detachable microphone. Now, the microphone on here is a flexible mic, so you can put it towards your mouth. And you do want to make sure to do that, because having open back headphones means your audio is leaking and you don't want your mic to pick that up. And I can say throughout my testing, I have been extremely impressed at how well the mic picks up my voice and how clear everything sounds. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here's the mic test using the GDL3s. I think this is a very impressive microphone. In fact, I think it's one of the better gaming mics that I've tested on this channel. And I think I could have easily used this to do most of this review, because I feel like it picks up my voice pretty naturally. I feel like it picks up bass tones really nice. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to use these while gaming. So now let's talk about the sound. And really, before we get into the sound itself, I do want to highly recommend that if you're going to be using these, make sure to play audio like white noise or something out of these for about 6 to 7 hours, because out of the box, this was one of the harshest sounding pair of headphones or gaming headset that I had ever tested. I mean, it was very, very bright, very harsh, and every S had that sibilant sound. I mean, it was just way too much. But once they broke in, it definitely calmed down the treble a little bit, and it just made this a very enjoyable pair of headphones to use. In fact, I just found myself using these pretty much more as a pair of headphones than I did a gaming headset. But I did test these both ways, and the bass on this pair is very, very strong, but it is really controlled. It's not one of those that's sloppy, but it has a ton of impact to it. And I think that is because of this being an open back pair, that it just doesn't give you that really congested or closed in feeling. So if you're playing a game and you hear explosions, you're able to feel the explosions, but not have it take over anything else that you would need to hear. So, you know, you'd have an explosion going on over here, but if somebody is walking towards you, you're still able to hear those footsteps and not have that explosion just take over and ruin everything else. Same thing with listening to music. If you listen to something that has a lot of drums or something that is very bass heavy, it has that boomy feeling, but it's not taking away from being able to hear details in synthesizers or the cymbals crashing or anything like that. It just feels very open and very well separated, which leads me to where the mids and the treble sits. The treble, again, is very bright, but when you mix it with that really boomy bass, it does cause for a very dynamic sound. And the mids on this pair is also another thing that I like that they did, because they did not push them too forward. They kind of left them right there in the center. It's maybe slightly elevated, just enough where, you know, obviously the bass is boomy and the treble is harsh. You don't want to feel like your mids are falling back, and you don't want to feel like your vocalist is getting lost in the mix. You don't want to feel like you can't really hear guitars or certain instruments. And this pair, like I said, has no issue with this. The downfall to this for some people that are used to gaming headsets is this is not one of those pairs that uses software. So there's no EQing that you can do within these. There's no virtual 7.1, which I actually like the fact that this pair doesn't have that, because I feel like most pairs that have that 7.1 surround sound, it's just fake. It's just adding reverb and echo, or it's trying to do something that the audio may not be intended to do. And really, you just have 2 speakers. You don't have 7 speakers, and it just feels like in those type of headsets, it's trying to do something that they're not really intended to do. So my overall opinion on this pair is, if you don't mind using a wired headset or wired pair of headphones, and you're obviously going to be in an environment where there's not going to be people around, so that you're not bothering them with what you're listening to, this is easily one of the best pair of headphones or gaming headsets that you're going to get in that under $150 range. So yeah, I highly recommend this pair. This is an excellent pair for gaming, it's an excellent pair for music, and it's an awesome pair for movies as well. I mean, you can just use them for whatever you want to. You don't have to have an amp, but again, I am plugging mine into an ARC MK2, and it just elevates them that much more. And I've just had a hell of a time using these, so I easily recommend them at 129 bucks. But guys, that's my video on the brand new Audio-Technica ATH-GDL3s. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.